Hey, do me a huge favor before you start this episode, and please rate and review this show. By doing this simple task, it helps me rank higher on the podcast charts and helps me reach more entrepreneurs who are looking for free content like this. It will take you less than 30 seconds of your time. Thank you in advance, and I hope you enjoy today's episode. Where I have been going wrong with time blocking hasn't been working for me. Time blocking my calendar to be more efficient and productive has all gone awry. That's what I'm going to talk about on this episode, about where I've been going wrong, what I'm going to try to do different, and yes. So if you have been a listener for a bit, you have heard me talk about the importance of time blocking to help you be more productive / successful. All these good things. Managing your calendar can be so powerful. I'll also say, I don't know how many of you watch Alex Hormozi or watch Alex Hormozi's content, see his content, subscribe and or follow his content, but check him out, Alex Hormozi. He's super good, super fun, has very down-to-earth, matter-of-fact, pragmatic, which is kind of like saying down-to-earth, matter-of-fact, to the point, bare bones, like let's strip out all the fluff and get down to the reality of how you can be successful, how you can be more productive, how you can build your business. And Alex Hormozi, he's got a great book called 100M Offers, 100, which stands for $100 million offers. And he breaks down great ways to, create an offer for your product or your service, and how you can, scale it and not get into, commoditized pricing, getting into price wars. And the 100 million offers, what it means is you create such a good offer that it scales to 100 million in revenue. And what happens to a lot of people, it can happen to me included, is we can get into, or I can get into, you can get into price wars. So as a business owner or a new business owner trying to sell a service or a product, a physical product or anything, you can get stuck in having to lower your prices to be competitive and to earn more business, and then it's a race to the bottom. But anyway, check out Alex Hormozi. He very eloquently speaks to that. I've gone on enough of a tangent about Alex Hormozi. 100 million offers. Follow him on Facebook, and his reels are awesome. His Instagram reels, as well as his YouTube content. Anyway, I believe I've added enough credibility for Alex Hormozi, and also he's very successful. He's made tons and tons of money, and seems to have lots of free time on his hands these days. So anyway, I came across a piece of content from him recently that in effect said, and I might be misquoting it, but in effect it said, someone who is not the smartest, but who is focused, will have tremendous success, versus the super smart guy with the best idea. Yeah, he's not going to be so successful. So again, the dumb guy with a mediocre idea who's extremely focused will have tremendous success versus super smart, inspired guy with the best product who has no focus. And that little piece of content really opened my eyes. And I was like, yeah, I've been, broadly focused, heading a general direction, let's say entrepreneuring, but not focused within that. Let's see if I can, that's kind of like saying, I'm liable to change ideas on a whim, try new things, which this isn't necessarily bad, but I can lose focus quickly. I can be working on something, and then I'll have an idea, or I'll find some rabbit hole to go down. Sure enough, I go down the rabbit hole. And so, the more I can stay focused, the more I can laser focus on an idea and stick to that idea and stay focused on that idea, perhaps the more success I can have with that idea. And I'm not saying one's better or the other. It depends on what kind of outcome you're looking for. So if I'm trying to find what I want to do, well, I need to be laser focused on trying different things and experimenting and going down different rabbit holes, which I've been doing a lot of the past couple years. But now I'm like, yeah, it's time to find success, some monetary success or some revenue success, or some consistency there. And so I'm like, all right, it's time to be laser focused on testimonial guy, getting people testimonials, editing those testimonials, creating systems for people so they can get their testimonials, or so I can get their testimonials for them. And then finding what's my best fit within that. So it could just be, hey, I create your system so you can get your testimonials. And here's your system, start to finish. I'll set it up for you. And if you want, perhaps I'll be the person recording the video testimonials for you, getting the people, once the system is in place to get people on camera, I will then be the one that interviews them. Or perhaps someone on your team is, right? So there'll be some nuances in there. But, so I've been time blocking. Finally, Mischa, you're getting to time blocking. I've been time blocking getting projects done. Like, I'm going to spend 4 hours editing video. Or, well, not 4 hours, that's a stretch. I'm going to spend 2 hours editing video. Or I'm going to spend 1 hour strictly editing video, no distractions. Or I'm going to spend, an hour writing follow-up emails. Or I'm going to spend, 2 hours doing X. So I've been doing a lot of time blocking. But I'm not getting stuff done as I should be. And so I figured out what the issue is. I'll do a time block, and let's just say it's editing video. And then I'll come up with some. Today, for example, I was going to edit video. I've got in a podcast episode. Actually, is what I was going to do. I was going to crank out. I did this awesome interview with Damon Burton that had 5 distinct sections. I had broken it up into all the different sections, and I was going to. And I'd started editing everything, breaking it up into the sections, taking out some of the wonky parts of the interviews in Final Cut Pro, and exporting stuff, and I had created the master file, and then I created the 5 individual episodes without intros, outros. So what I was going to do was slap on intros, outros, do parts of the episode that invite you to the next episode. Hey, this is what you have to look forward to on the next part of this. This was part 1. Look forward to part 2 where we're going to talk about X. Look forward to part 3 when we're going to talk about X. Do a little open loop on each. I could go down the open loop rabbit hole, but I won't. Look at me showing restraint. So I get fixated on putting watermarks in there because I told Damon that I would get him the raw video so he could chop it up. Damon Burton's, I'll call him the SEO king. He doesn't necessarily go by that, but he is the SEO king, clearly. And his team is really good at repurposing video interviews into snippets, which he puts on Instagram and Reels and all over the place. And so I was like, yeah, I'll get you the raw. I offered it up. Hey, I'm going to get you the raw content so you can do whatever you want with it. And I might throw a watermark on there if that's cool. And I went down. This is where I went sideways. So yesterday, as I'm editing everything up and getting it ready, I go down the rabbit hole of making the watermark super fancy instead of keeping it super simple. I'm like, I'm going to make a spinning watermark that will, be fancy and cool. And so I spend hours going down that rabbit hole. Now, granted, as I do a bunch of video editing, learning how to do spinning watermarks and keyframes and all that is not necessarily bad. But I didn't need to be doing that in the moment. My goal was to get the content out, ready for publishing, and to Damon. And I could have even gone without the watermark. It's my own ego and wanting, hoping that as he's publishing, people will say, what's this Table Rush thing? And Google it. Anyhow, then as I was going to publish the episodes, get them ready for publishing to the podcast, I went down the I need to know how to get rid of the render files rabbit hole. Now, both of these things felt productive, but they did not get me closer to the time blocked goal, which was to get the this is so funny. I'll even tell you another thing. I was like, get the content to Damon. And then it was like, turn the content into 5-part episode. And then it was like, oh my gosh, just more and more down the rabbit hole. But I realized that this may not be the best example, but in many examples like this, I will give myself a project, time block it, and then I start going down kind of associated rabbit holes that keep me from getting the project done, right? I'll come up with some idea and then I'll go research it and watch videos and this and that, and it pulls me out of the actual project. And that could even be, there's so many ways to explain it, but I think you get what I'm saying. I want to be cognizant of time and just say that I'm going to minimize the rabbit hole in the time block. So when I do a time block, and the time block's to edit up, so for example, I've got some testimonials to edit. I need to get them out. I'm going to, on that time block, stay committed to editing the actual testimonials and not going down ancillary or kind of related rabbit holes. Okay? All right.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Table Rush Talk Show. For resources to help you sell your stuff, go to belove.media/resources. That's belove.media/resources. And be sure to subscribe, comment, 5-star, and share. Thank you again for listening.